coming to consecrate, as even the plaque reads, it is still read as if it was to happen the way it happened, with him witnessing. But God had other plans, and we decided that we will come to fulfill his wish and make sure that we consecrate the church the day he wanted it consecrated, but today also to honor his wish, because he wished that he should not be kept more than 72 hours. And we will bring the two services together, consecration of the church, but also celebrating his life. The CDF meant a lot to the people of this nation, meant a lot to us as church members, but particularly to the chaplaincy of the Kenya Defence Forces, where I'm the bishop in ordinary to Kenya Defence Forces. And therefore we have come a long way, and today we have lost a hero. We have lost someone who had made a difference in KDF to bring Christ in the center. And as a believer and a worshipper, his faith was not deterred by his rank or anything. He lived a Christian, peaceable life. And we want to thank God for the opportunity that we have come today to celebrate his life, but also to honor his wish of consecrating the church he helped construct. Thank you. God bless you. May Kenya be peaceful. We wish you all well as we all mourn General Ogolla. Thank you.
We are hoping that the weather will be friendly to allow this ceremony to go on as planned. So, all right, we will be looking into other details here, but remember, this is a military event, and remember, this is an issue that maybe everything is limited, including information is limited, because we have not been given sufficient information here as to why or what has led to the delays. But we'll be learning that later as the day goes by, because it was not even meant to take long here. It was just meant to maybe receive the body and then put it in the house. It goes to Nia, where General Francis Ogolla will be laid to rest. But we are keeping tabs to just make sure that we give you up to speed with what will be happening, including maybe what led to the delay of the arrival of the body, despite the fact that the program read that the body will be leaving this particular place at exactly 8 a.m. It's 8:50 already. The body has not yet left, but that is not a serious concern, because it can easily be made up. Just if you can be able also to get the other side, we can see that there's a lot of maybe colleagues that are waiting. We can have the securities actually beefed up properly. The other side also, we have the military police cars that are waiting on standby to just make sure that they give the escort. The other side, this is a serious team there. They are in serious combat there. This is a wreck squad. They are also waiting there to make sure that they give the general the escort that he deserves. On the other side, just say if we can also be able to get that. Yes, well, this is inside, just outside the airport. The parking lot is full of these kind of cars that are waiting to give General Francis Ogolla a befitting send-off. Of course, it will start from here. We have also had a number of dignitaries making their way inside the airport, where we have been stopped not to still do this from outside here, because this is our pleasure. We can, as you can see, there's most of the dignitaries are still arriving here. There's a lot of, just if you can be able to move. Thank you. That's okay. So that we can give them space to move their way. This is actually we have seen the communication in the midst of the face. That is Mugambi, an indication that the CS is not very far. CS yako gari gani? CS yako gari gani?
CS yuko kwa this is the family car.
Oh, family car.
They're going to pick
the family car for General Ogolla.
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much. We are just told that these cars that are making is carrying the family for Major Francis Ogolla. I think that is the reason maybe they delayed to release the body. They are making their way inside there. We have been told that those are the cars carrying the family for Major acknowledge General Francis Ogolla, and therefore we are also now waiting. Maybe their arrival will fasten things. Maybe it will fasten things, because it's important the fact that the family actually is available, is present. It's important the family is present for this particular kind of event, because this is the time they're giving the last respect, and they are the people that are given priority, despite the fact that it's a military event. But the family has a very, very important role to play in the last send of General Francis Ogolla.
I've talked about, he was very, very generous. We've heard that he also helped a lot of families here, and even the community around this place can attest that the general himself was certainly a man of his word and a man who was on a mission. I've told you about the church that he assisted to help, not to mention the various groups that he helped of young men and women here in Siaya County. And another thing also to note is that the general was very, very friendly. According to the people that we've been able to speak to, he was very, very friendly. And despite that he was a 4-star general, he did not actually want always to just be in Nairobi. He always wanted to be here together with his people. And one place that he wouldn't miss is the church, where he was also an elder of the church. And I can also tell you that security here and around this the small town of Nia has been beefed up. A lot of police officers, a lot of military police, a lot of military from all the three divisions, that the Air Force, the Navy, and also the Kenya Army have been here for a number of days, and they have helped, they have assisted to put up all these. And as you can see, it's a hive of activity with just a few minutes from actually starting out this function, which will be done in according to all the military honors, bearing in mind that the general died in office. That is something that has never happened in the history of the country. And so it's be interesting to see how now other things do follow. But first things first, the general wanted a very simple burial. That is why we are burying him within 72 hours as his wishes. Another thing, he didn't even want to be in a coffin, just to show you how simple he wanted all this exercise to be. But again, he died in office as the CDF of this country. General Ogolla will be buried according to all the military honors and all the state functions that all occur in such functions. And as my cameraman can show you, is that in the last 20 or 30 minutes or so, people have already started streaming in, and the empty chairs that you can see just a few meters from me is for the dignitaries, including the president, his deputy, the CS of defense and also interior security will be here in a couple of minutes or hours, and we have already started to see some entourages of some of these leaders that we have in the country. I can tell you the church as well. We have seen some members from the clergy around, just trying to make sure that everything is in an apple pie order. And also as the media, we are also very well in line to ensure that we keep you afloat with what is happening. Remember, two of my colleagues are also following up since the airport. I've just seen on your television, since the airport, now they will be also stationed at the home and at the ACK church, where the body will be there for about an hour or so before it is brought here, where everything will be done. Then a private ceremony will be conducted at home, where very, very close family members and of course the commander-in-chief, who happens to be the president, will also be in that very, very private function. So as you can see, everything is ready. We are ready for the function. And also to note that after all this is said and done, there will be some refreshments back, and then people can maybe just reminisce on how they knew the general before we call it a day. But for now, it's back to you, Stu.
Thank you, Ben Troy Njue at the Senator Obama Primary School there. And of course, as you can see, the numbers keep surging of the mourners who are coming in to mourn General Francis Omondi Ogolla, one of Kenya's illustrious sons and the fourth Chief of Defence Forces under the 2010 Constitution. The body has arrived in Kisumu, that I can confirm, and we'll be heading there, of course, for live pictures in a bit. But before we do that, let's just have a feel of the life and times of General Francis Omondi Ogolla, who joined the military in 1984. And April, by the way, is a very interesting month for General Ogolla. It is the month he joined the military. It is the month he was promoted to the position of CDF. It is the month he died. Let's have a look at that. 61-year-old General Francis Omondi Ogolla bows out 6 days shy of hitting the 40-year mark of service in the military. His death presenting a new territory to the military as he becomes the first Chief of Defence Forces to pass on while still in office. The late Ogolla joined the military on the 24th of April 1984. He was commissioned as second lieutenant and posted to the Kenya Air Force about a year after he joined the military. He trained as a fighter pilot with the USAF and as an instructor pilot at the Kenya Air Force. The late Chief of Defence Forces also trained in other fields, including imagery intelligence, counter-terrorism and accident investigation. Ogolla was a graduate of École Militaire du Paris and National Defence College of Kenya. He holds a diploma both in international studies and military science from Egerton University, a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, Armed Conflict and Peace Studies First Class Honours, and Master of Arts in International Studies from the University of Nairobi. Additionally, he has also served as Deputy Commander Kenya Air Force, Base Commander Laikipia Air Base, Commanding Officer of Tactical Fighter Wing, Chief Flying Instructor at Kenya Air Force Flying Training School and Operations Desk Officer at Kenya Air Force Headquarters. He also served in the former Yugoslavia as an observer and military information officer from 1992 to 1993, as Chairman of Military Christian Fellowship from 1994 to 2004, and co-chair of Association of African Air Chiefs between 2018 to 2019. Ogolla rose through the ranks to become a Major General and appointed the Commander Kenya Air Force on the 15th of July 2018, a post he served for 3 years before his promotion to the position of Vice Chief of the Defence Forces and the rank of Lieutenant General. The highlight of his career came on the 28th of April last year, when he was promoted to the rank of General, effectively replacing retired General Robert Kariuki Kibochi as the Chief of Defence Forces. The curtain of his illustrious military career falls with just 10 days left before he clocked 1 year in office as the country's fourth Chief of Defence Forces under the 2010 Constitution. And as fate would have it, the general did not mark 1 year in office, but on the day he died, that is Thursday, he was 10 days shy of marking 1 year in office as the man in charge, as the Chief of Defence Forces. Wycliffe Okech is on set now. Let's join him to get to understand at the rural home of General Ogolla how preparations are ongoing. Wycliffe Okech, over to you.
As you can see from the background, we are within the precinct and the compound of Nduru ACK Church here in Lagos, Songa constituency, Siaya County. This is the church that the fallen chief of the Defense Forces, that is General Francis Ogolla, participated immensely and significantly in its construction. And actually, remember, this weekend, this is one of the part of the large array of celebrations that was been scheduled to take place this weekend, actually. Remember, yesterday we had informed our viewers that there was a celebration of marking 100 years of the father of Francis Ogolla, and part of that was also to be elongated and actually attached to the celebration and official consecration of this church that the fallen chief of the Defense Forces actually participated immensely in its construction. And since we started doing this in Lagos, Songa, Siaya, we have been speaking with different people, those who grew up with the fallen CDF, and actually the family members, those people who are close to him, and they've all alluded actually that the CDF growing up as a God-fearing and obedient child who had matters spiritual in his heart, actually, and that's the reason he had taken upon himself to build this church, of course, in collaboration with other individuals as well. But then today this church was to be officially consecrated, and the CDF himself was also to be present here until the unfortunate occurred. A few minutes ago, Archbishop Ole Sapit actually presided over the official consecration of this facility to open it up for the worshippers around this place to be able to worship in that church. And there had been earlier plans had indicated that when the remains of the CDF had been brought to the airport, that is the Kisumu airport, the body was to be brought here to this church, but then there had been changes in plans. Immediately now the body lives there. It will be transported straight to for the funeral service. I guess it's because of the compound is not very large, and of course you know that there is a large multitude of the locals who had turned up here actually to witness the official consecration here, but then that has not happened, so the body will just be taken directly for the funeral service, waiting burial later on at his near rural home that is 3 kilometers away from where we are here. Actually, before coming here, we had passed by his place, and that place has been still under tight security. They have placed a barrier on the way, and that means only the burial ceremony there will be exclusive to the family, as had been indicated yesterday by the family, and of course been confirmed by the principal secretary in charge of international security and government administration, that is Dr. Raymond Molo, who had confirmed that the burial ceremony there is going to be very exclusive just to the family members, and probably of course that is going to be done with in strict adherence to the military protocols. Yes, what you can see behind me is Nduru ACK Church that has been officially now consecrated, a ceremony that has been presided over by Archbishop Ole Sapit, and together with other bishops and the bishop in charge of that church now. That means the locals here now can partake the worshipping in that church. Well, as we live here, we are going straight to the home of the fallen general, where the burial rite will be taking place, and of course our viewers will be able to get every detail in every moment regarding that ceremony. But again, we have a very able team on the other side that is at the funeral service, giving our viewers every detail of this occurrence. And like you can see, there's still a few individuals just left here, but then the majority have left the place here and have gone for the funeral service, and we are awaiting the interment of the remains of the fallen CDF later on. That is what we can that's the update we have for you for now, but then we'll be doing this over and over to give our viewers every glimpse of this occurrence. Back to you.
Thank you, Wycliffe Okech at Nduru ACK. Nduru ACK, a magnificent church you see behind Wycliffe there, built by the general himself, of course, to assist the local worshippers. And the primate of the Anglican Church in Kenya, His Grace, the Right Reverend Jackson Ole Sapit, has consecrated that church this morning. And this just goes, towards pointing towards the direction of who General Ogolla was, beyond the face of a very serious military man who speaks less, listens more, is a man who also who had religion as a moral compass and would go, as far as building a church, Colonel Shava.
Yes. Yeah, he was very religious, like I said. Both in the military, also he's engaged in the Military Christian Association. And so for a long time he was the chairman of that. And I don't think Ogolla ever missed a day in church.
Quite interesting, because one of the things that appear, and that was played yesterday also, is him delivering a sermon that appeared to be of a sense of premonition, pointing towards how futile life is. And it looked like General Ogolla was prepared for what is the final journey of a human being at the end of the day. Colonel Riobo.
Yes. Actually, all of us, we are supposed to be doing that.
But clearly we are not.
But we do.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
We don't, because we have got this fear for death.
Yeah.
I don't think he was afraid of death.
Yeah, I fear.
We fear talking. Sometimes we fear that if you talk, maybe you are going to die. That is the fear.
Yeah.
I've been in an area for the church for a long time. In my local Ranete STA church, I am an elder. When I went with Enrico to Sierra Leone, we built a lot of churches in Sierra Leone. You see, in this world, you feel that you must be closer to your God. And especially the dangers we are in, the environment we are working in, it is so dangerous, not really very dangerous, but fearful, such that you feel that the nearer you be your creator, the better. You could see how he was giving the sermon. He was giving the sermon as if he has finished his work, isn't it? In his contact with a lot of things and a lot of people, you feel that you are safer when you are with the Creator all the time. When you get time to be in the church, like what he shown there, that he has built a church. Maybe that is not the only one which he has built. Clearly. It's only because he has built in his own area. He has contributed in the Moyabes, he has contributed in other places, and that is how you can see even soldiers, when they are working outside the countries, you find them building something like a mosque, something like a church. They are there, and they feel because of the environment they are working, what I've said is that they must be as close to their creator as much as possible. Yes, they never know when time will come.
Yeah, Colonel Shava, probably because of the nature of your job, this level of preparedness we see from the general, of even accepting the futility of life, because the people who fear death out here are so many. But for a man to be so courageous, so much as to plan how he should be buried, is it because of the nature of the job?
Yeah, that has something to do with it. Because in our, especially in the flying career, there's no warning. You don't have to be sick. Yeah, you just don't come home one day.
One day you just don't come home.
Yeah.
It is so serious that what he is saying, that is what actually I've said, that you don't know when and why. it's so close to you.
You have to make it right with your maker.
You must make all the time. When you are walking on the road, you must walk on the yellow line. You know, sometimes back when you are young officers going to town and coming back, when you are walking back to the camp, you walk on the yellow line. You don't walk on the sides. You walk on the yellow line where you are safe. You see, you know that in the middle of the yellow line, that is where nobody can get that place. So you
safe zone.
You just walk.
Yeah.
Knowing that the surroundings are not good, but the way it is that he was a religious man in his background, in his life. That is his lifestyle, and that is how he felt that he should live as a religious man and a good man.
All right. Let me just, Wilson, I don't know whether you have that speech by Joel Ogolla, the son to General Ogolla. I want to, because there are a few things you pick there, pointing again towards the direction of who General Ogolla was. Wilson, do we have that? Wilson?
He was wrapped in a sheet and put in a tomb. Right now, Mzee is wearing the uniform he donned for #1 functions, but tomorrow we'll be wrapping him in the sheets. We'll extract him from the casket and lay him in the ground so that he can return to us dust as quickly as possible, just the way he wanted it.
This is the man who wants mourners to stop wearing a long face. And his general stand. The sadness, of course, the loss of his father, but he keeps a straight head and points us towards, again, the direction that General Ogolla wanted. How would you describe, what? Okay, just hold that. Let's go to Kisumu. I understand now we have live pictures of the body of the late general leaving Kisumu International Airport now to head towards Siaya, particularly Senator Obama Primary School, where the funeral service will be held. And those are live pictures. That's the hearse carrying the body. And I also noticed some outriders. Remember, General Ogolla, today is what you're saying will be a completely a military event as the military bids goodbye to their commander, General Francis Omondi Ogolla. And I think also that bus that is behind the outriders is also carrying the military men and probably the generals that are the pallbearers in this burial. We saw that bus yesterday, so that's why I'm guessing it must be obviously the same. They're carrying the generals that will be the pallbearers. But those are live pictures of the body as it exits Kisumu International Airport to head towards Senator Obama Primary School and finally at Nduru Village for the last journey General Ogolla will make towards that direction. And we also have live pictures from Senator Obama Primary School. Yesterday we saw a sense of sorts of, and since General Ogolla died, political differences being dropped and people coalescing together to mourn a great son of the Republic of Kenya. The opposition visited General Ogolla's home to mourn with the widow. And also the president did that. Yesterday we saw opposition leader Raila Odinga closing ranks with the president and really to mourn General Ogolla, Kenya's illustrious son and the 4th Chief of Defense Forces under the 2010 Constitution. But Colonel Shava, we were speaking about the son, what the son told us yesterday.
I think General Ogolla and his son must have had a lot of talk. And when I listen to him, he sounds like his father.
He does, yeah?
Yeah, it sounds like his father. I haven't seen him in a long time. The last time I saw him as a little boy, running around on base. But he's turned out to be his father's son. Yeah, and I think he's also a pilot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's a pilot. Last I heard of him, he was going to pilot school. So he must have made it to being a pilot.
Clearly following in the steps of his father.
Yes.
Wow.
Clearly, yeah. Yeah. So I think they've had these discussions. And he's prepared his family for this day. So there are no surprises.
Yeah. But it also speaks to the style of parenting that the general had adopted. So much that you speak plainly.
Yes.
Even about death.
Yeah.
What we have just said is that it does not knock. Death does not knock, and especially in the forces, like what you say as a pilot.
Yeah.
He never knows when he is taking off. He will run to the next field.
Yes.
So you must prepare your family. You can see my son here, Jeremiah, an advocate of High Court.
Yes.
I talk to them and I tell them, I give them direction, I give them my wishes, how I wish my family to be, how I wish, you see, these things, sometimes you feel that it is done in another village, not my village, isn't it? But it is reality. You must talk to your family. You must tell them that one time you are seeing me, next time you are not seeing me. And if you are not seeing me, this is what is supposed to be done. This is exact. I don't want that confusion. That is what actually the son is talking about, that he knew the father's wishes. And there is no confusion. When they said that Pario will be on 21st, nobody questioned and said, why is it?
Nobody's going to court.
No, go to court. Maybe let us do it in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. No, the family has said, because that is the wish of our father. And the son is saying, that is the wish of my father. And with the wife and the other children, that is how they are planned. And there is no confusion. That is why we say in the army there is no confusion of doing things. It is written. You are supposed to be where you are supposed to be. There is no confusion in that. So that is what the son actually is a pilot. And so that means that he has followed the father's footsteps and he knows what the father says and what his wishes were. The wishes of the father is the command to the children. The wishes. You don't have to command your children. You don't have to command your children to do what you want. You spell out your wish. And your wish is the command to the children. They have to follow it. That is how it is trained. That is how the army is trained.
All right. We also have live pictures now from his home. And as it has been described by people who know this place, and you can see it from the screen, it's also a modest home that, the general believed in a modesty. And as you can see, those are live pictures, coming live from Nduru village in Alego Songa. The other split picture is Senator Obama Primary School. And I'm having a brief look at the program. The last guest to arrive before the mass begins is the Commander-in-Chief, who is supposed to arrive at 9:45. That's about 25 minutes from now. I'm just thinking, Colonel Shava, there's no room for mistakes. There's no room for being late. There's a military event. It goes as planned.
As per the schedule. It will go as per the plan.
As it is planned?
Yeah.
Oh.
It is as if it was planned long time.
Long time ago. Yeah.
It is just the book put in archive and pulled. This is what is to be followed. If it is 45 minutes, it's 45 minutes. Not 46. It is 45
If it is 45, it is 45.
It's 45. It's arriving at 45 and it is 45. And that is how we attend in the army, that time is very important, and the time must be that time. In the war, what we call it, when you call fire, it must be that time you call fire, because if it is late, even in 1 minute, you kill your own troops. So somebody tells you, bring fire at this time. You have to bring that fire at that time, what you have agreed. Not what you think, not 5 minutes later or 2 minutes later or 2 minutes earlier. Because when you close a certain line, then you say, fire in this place. You have to take it. That is the precise, that is what is supposed to be. Yes.
All right, there's something I'm seeing here in the program. It is quite interesting. After the bury rites, the procession parade to the grave, that we saw the procession parade even yesterday. But there's something called, after 1 minute of silence, before the 19-gun salute, there's something called last post. What does that mean?
The last post is it's actually is a military tradition. It's a trumpet. Yeah.
Okay.
And they sing to a certain tune.
Yeah.
It's only one trumpeter, not the whole band. One trumpeter, one of the bandsmen, a trumpeter will come and sing the last post. It's a tradition. I don't know the significance of it.
Yeah.
But that's the end of the soldiers' career.
It is something like now you have gone, and you can see them pointing the gun down. It comes with that post coming down. That now it is
laid down his arms.
Yeah, you have laid out the arms. Now it is finished. That is the last post. Now it is over.
You're off duty. You're finished.
You're off duty. Now you are finished. You are go well.
Okay.
Yeah, that is the last post.
That is the last post, and it will be done just before the 19gun salute. There's something I want us to talk about, because recently we've seen CDFs come and have phrases that guide their leadership. For example, I think General Kibochi had sharpening the arrowhead. For General Ogolla, it is one force, one mission. But for the head of a military in this sense, to come up with such a phrase, one force, one mission, what do you think he was encompassing when he comes up with that phrase of one force, one mission?
This is all speculation, but I think when it talks, because we have got three forces, basically. We've got the land forces, air forces, and naval forces. What he's saying is that all of them work in synergy as one force, not everybody doing their separate things. I think that is my interpretation of that.
One force, one mission. What do you think was the implication of
the one force is that it was you see, there are so many units and the services working sometimes in different places. He wanted to bring them together. He wanted to have something like we must fight
unity of
in this thing. We must be together. Don't work that you are in the Air Force, you are in the Navy, you are in the Army, working separately. Let us work as a team. As a team, we must work as okay. Professionally, you are different, but as a team, you have to work together. You must be together. But in a specialized field, you work on different, but let us be one.
Just to expand a little bit on that, you have one mission, one goal.
Yeah.
But you all got different paths to that one goal because of your different capabilities. The Army is doing their bit towards that one goal. The Air Force is doing their towards that one goal. Not everybody having their own.
Their own goal.
Own goals.
And that was the phrase that the general coined to shape his leadership at the as the Chief of Defense Forces. One force, one mission. But today we lay the general to rest. From what you can see on one end of the screen is a procession to Senator Obama Primary School in Siaya County, Alego Usonga constituency. And then on the other end, you also have his home in Nduru village, in that same area. And you can see religious leaders robing up, probably ahead of the mass that is scheduled to begin at 9:45. I'm assuming the president will obviously land in his chopper, not in a place far off. So we are not likely to see his procession to Senator Obama Primary School, but that is the movement of the body of the late General Francis Omondi Ogolla. And a well-schooled general, well-schooled in that in that sense. I was just looking at his academic credentials, Kana Orioba, and you realize he was a general, 40 years of service, but properly schooled. So much that he was leading with experience and a lot of knowledge.
Yeah, he loved books.
He did.
He loved books. He was a scholar, and you could see the work he was doing is heavy, isn't it? As a CDF. But the time for him to go and study, mostly the way he used his 24. How was he using his 24? Maybe after duty, or during lunchtime, or during his leaves when he goes off to go to leaves. He loved books. Like our General Tonje. Tonje loved books. He could even maybe slap if you are not reading. Tonje felt that you must have to read. There's no doubt about it. That is where actually military education came in, and people realized that to have a professional military, you have to be educated. That is why you can see his education credentials, masters. He's doing outside. He's doing this. He's doing this. It was brought in that it must be a must, that you must go to school. Why are you here saying you are not going to school? Why are you not? If actually, when I was enlisted, there was no such a thing, and you could see that even you could not get soldiers getting degrees. But these days, everybody is getting it. It's free. Get a desire to go to school, you are given that chance to go to school. You go as high as you want to go to school. And that is what even the general was advocating, that read, be knowledgeable, know what is happening, and that is how he wanted the military to
and Colonel Shava, there appears to be a deliberate investment in education, particularly in the military. Seeing, for example, like the general was a master's degree holder. He had other diplomas from other institutions, including outside the country. The immediate former, who is retired General Kibochi, before retirement, he actually got a doctorate.
Yes.
And it appears like it will keep stepping up. The incoming CDFs clearly must have a job to do.
It's not just the CDFs, but education has taken a front line in the military. And we started off with programs like partnering with some institutions, Kenyatta University, Egerton University, to provide courses. And then it took a change with the cadet training. Cadet training used to be, my time, I went to Lanet for only 6 weeks. Just to do basic military training. And from there on, I went flying training school. Now you go to Lanet for 4 years.
4 years?
Yes. You come out with a degree, okay? And there's a requirement that every promotion is accompanied with a certain level of certificate. So to go from major, you must have a master's. And you're given the chance to do your masters, and it is paid for. So it is shauri yako if you don't do it.
If you don't do it,
yeah. You've got to excuse. Yeah. So you find that today's military officer is a very highly educated. He has
it is linked to education. It's linked, it is a professional. It's linked to education. Like what he's saying is that you used to go for 1 year, 6 months, and you become. But now, for you to be promoted from one point to another, you must bring
a certificate of education.
That is why we have the Defense University. The Defense University.
In the same Lanet,
the Lanet. It came up that we must have now a university so that we can have everybody who desire to get education. There it is. Yes.
And within the military itself, we do a lot of courses, internal courses, leadership courses, you know. But these courses are not accredited. And like if you go to America or the UK, that course you do is accredited, and you get a diploma or whatever, which is recognized. So that's another thing they need to do. The only institution we have that provides education and you get is accredited is CAFTEC, the Kenya School of Technical School. There you come out with a diploma. But the rest of the courses we do, they also need to accredit those courses. So you need these institutions now to be accredited so that they can give those diplomas and things. Because they do a lot of courses. Military, you're permanently, you cannot go from one stage to another without attending.
You must have a certain certificate.
Yes, even the soldiers, you must have a certain certificate. It's not just time alone. Although we did not do the formal education, there were internal requirements. You have to meet certain courses before you get promoted to a next level.
And we'll come to the different levels and how they're acquired. But still on the aspect of education, and particularly tell us the differences, the parallels that you see today, the Kenya Defense Forces of 2024 versus the Kenya Defense Forces of 1980 when you joined.
Well, you see, it is different, and it is progressing very well, as my brother said. When we joined, sometimes you cannot, when you give a mission, you don't say why. But now, you must spell the why. Why are you sending me to die? You must spell it. So you must have that education to be sent. Why is this being done? And you cannot ask why if you are not educated, isn't it? You don't have the knowledge. So those days, you would see that in the army, you do something first, then you come to ask the why, but not now. Now you must say, you must spell the why. Why are you sending me to Congo? Why are you sending me to Bokot? Why are you sending me to this? You must spell why you are sending me there. So that is why education now has plotted that the soldiers now have education, they have the information, they have what we call the expertise now to do the work. So that is why to be promoted from this rank to this rank, you must have passed a certain course or a certain education requirement so that you can be able to spell and or interpret what the army says.
During this event yesterday, we kept hearing the word senior officers, senior officers, senior officers. What does senior officers mean in the military?
We've got 3 cadres of officers in the military. We've got what you call the subalterns, those are the up to lieutenants. A second lieutenant is an acting rank. It's a probation period after promotion, after commission. So that probation period, you automatically go to your substantive rank, which is a lieutenant. Then after that, you become a captain. Those are subalterns, junior officers. Then you have what we call the field officers. The field officers are major and lieutenant colonel. Those are the field officers. These are now the combatant officers, the officers who are really engaged in combat, in command. Yeah, and then after that, you go to what we call the general officers. They're from Colonel to 4-star general, the ones who wear red, general officers. So, yeah, so that is a categorization of officers.
Wow. So the senior officers are this general rank? Okay.
You could see that actually there is a good, maybe the structure of the army. In the army, the generals don't go to war, but they fight in the offices.
Yes.
Those are thinkers. Those are senior officers. Work like now, like the studio, like this one. They just come to the studio. They are given the maps. They are given everything. They fight when they are in the office. Those are the thinkers. Now, the field officers, what he has said, the lieutenant colonels and majors and below, those are workers who are in the field. So that when the generals, senior officers are in the office like this one, they elect resources to go to different, where they want to reinforce, where they want to do this and this. That is why they call the senior officers. Yeah.
All right, those are live pictures from Siaya now. It's 9:37. In about 10 minutes or so, we expect the arrival of the Commander-in-Chief, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto, to arrive at the venue. And then after that, once the body has arrived at Senator Obama Primary School, the mass will begin. We are keen, of course, to see who the celebrants are. I'm sure Jackson Ole Sapit, the Primate of the Anglican Church in Kenya, will be among them. But I also understand, and I saw it from the Chief Justice's condolence message, that the General was also an attendant of the Methodist Church, probably when he's in Nairobi, and we'll also see who are leading the mass. But those are live pictures from Siaya County, Senator Obama Primary School, where we expect the mass to begin in about 10 minutes or about 7 minutes, once the Commander-in-Chief has arrived and once the body has arrived at Senator Obama Primary School. So we are looking forward to two things: the arrival of the Commander-in-Chief as well as the arrival of the body. I think I spotted Mother Karua somewhere, but then we will see. But the condolence messages have come from far and wide. From as far as the US, I think I saw the condolences of the Defense Secretary. Yeah, that's Mother Karua. I was right. She's there. So I saw the condolence messages come from as far as the US. Yesterday we had senior military chiefs attending the ceremony, and there are also others. And I think I understand the senior military officials from Malawi are also in Siaya and other countries. Is this testament to how respected and honored the Kenya Defense Forces is in terms of ranking?
You see, those are senior officers. And a senior officer of the rank of a general,
yes,
they interact with other international generals. They meet, they exchange ideas, how they operate, how things happen in their respective countries. So they are interact. Like now, what we say, that the generals taking their general, it is the same as the generals of the world, the CDFs of the world. Nearly all, maybe the East African CDFs will be coming. And especially there are countries like Malawi where we train their officers, they train our officers, like Swaziland and other countries, South Sudan and others. They are arriving in the country to mourn the great general. That is how it is international. It is not localized. He becomes a senior officer. It's an international figure. Yes.
I want to hear your thoughts on the same, Colonel Shav.
Well, and like what he's saying is correct. And they also have different forums where they interact, discussing security matters. Like there's an Africa forum, there's an East African forum, there is maybe a Commonwealth forum. So they interact with each other, the generals, in a lot of forum. And they also know each other personally. If the American general wants to, to talk about, he's not going to call the president. if he wants something to know about Kenya, he'll call his counterparts. Yeah, the Kenya Force commander. So they interact, a lot. The military, senior military officers have got their own channels, which are apolitical. Yeah, and these channels are always open, irrespective of what is happening politically. So, and it is purposely done like that. Even if America is at conflict with China, the political really are not talking. The generals will always talk. Yeah. Russia and America are not talking, but the American general will pick up a phone and call his Russian counterpart to talk at their level. Because at their level, there are sensitive things that could happen. Politics is politics, yeah? But then they must understand each other because of the power of the world, and they know the effects of war. So those channels are always open, internationally.
And that is why we are seeing the trooping of those senior officials from different countries.
Yeah, they're always talking. They talk all the time. They talk. Yeah.
Wow. Again, live pictures there. And you can see the military is in charge. Even in terms of the sitting arrangement, I would imagine, Kana Orioba, that even the sitting arrangement is being planned meticulously by the Kenya Defence Forces. Right?
Yes. Yes, it is. You see, what is there is that there is nothing left to chance. You are given a task to do, and you must do that task at that time. You know, that is why you can see them supervising what is supposed to be done. Sometimes the civilian, our civilian, where I am now, sometimes they do things, they assume that it could be done by somebody. No, the army is not be done by somebody. You take responsibility. For anything which goes on, you take responsibility. It's you, as a senior officer assigned to do that work. You must make sure that it is done according to the plan. Yes.
And this barrier is military.
Yes.
Yes.
It is military. The military bury their own. They bury their own.
They bury their own.
Yes.
The
whole process.
Because most of the times, much of what you hear is a state funeral. What is this? Is it a state funeral? Is it a military funeral? Is a military funeral equivalent of a state funeral?
I think a state funeral is a senior government official or a senior person in society who can be awarded a state funeral, but the person to conduct that state funeral will be the military.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They entrust the military to do the work because it will going to be done according to what it's supposed to be. So it is a state funeral entrusted to defense forces to work because it will be perfect work. That is why it's supposed to be done by the state, but who is entrusted to do this work? That is why it is. The military now, like this one, is the military funeral. It's a military, okay, it's a state, but it's military. And the military are in charge.
Yes. He's a serving officer.
Yeah.
A serving officer, whether it's a private or a general, shall be buried by the military.
All right. Let's rush to Siaya County again, Senator Obama Primary School, and link up with Ben Troy Njue. I think he's lined up several people to talk to. Troy, over to you.
Tunazidi kuwakaribisha kwa misa ibada ya
Thank you so much. Back in studio, and we're still waiting for His Excellency President William Ruto here at the hall. And as we wait for him, I'm now joined by the immediate governor for Migori County, who will have some reflections in regards of how he knew the good general. Karibu sana, Governor. Now, you have been, you know this guy personally, and you've also worked in him in one way or the other, because being a governor, and he also worked for government. How do you remember General Ogolla?
First of all, I'm very, very sad. Yeah, personally, I'm very sad because Ogolla was not only our CDF. To me, he was like a brother. In fact, if there are friends that he had in Luoland, then I'm sure I'm one of them. Because even over the Easter, he did me a great favor. In fact, that was a great honor. This Easter, yeah, because he took his time to come and visit me together with his family. That was a great honor. And even before he met his tragic death, up to Tuesday, we were still talking with one another. So he was such a kind and loving man. In fact, if there is any definition of kindness and humility, that is what the late general exhibited. Ogolla was a humble man, a dedicated public officer, a man who gave his life just to serve the public. And I'm so sorry that we have lost him, and as a country, I believe each and everyone is mourning the tragic end of General Ogolla. To us, the Luos, we have lost, in fact, we have lost, and we have lost. It is terrible for us. We all know the journey it takes for somebody to rise through the ranks to reach where General was. It is hard, and I know that it will not be easier for us, for any of our sons and daughters to rise up to that rank. It requires a lot of discipline, it requires a lot of dedication and sacrifice, and all those virtues were in General Ogolla. So General was a man of rare qualities. If you want to talk about qualities of a human being, in fact, General had rare qualities that are hard to come by. One would hardly know if you found him walking in his ordinary attire. You would hardly know that this is the tough man leading our tough men and women. He was a down-to-earth guy. So I want to join the rest of the country in mourning the death of General Ogolla. Personally, I've said that we had a lot of attachment. Yeah, that rhythm, I would say, his character really persuaded me, because whenever you are closer to General Ogolla, you would feel right at home. You would feel you are safe. You are with a down-to-earth person. And he extended that one not only to me, but everybody that encountered him. In fact, I've shared with quite a number of guys who got the opportunity to interact with him. He was such a kind guy. And we have lost a great man that is irreplaceable. You cannot get somebody of those qualities, somebody of those characters and qualities that General Ogolla had. So
and Governor, we are actually talking about some of the reforms, because here people are talking about he was a reformer, and he also assisted in putting up a church right here in Ingia. Kindly talk about that.
He had a lot of interest in knowing or in ensuring that the whole community or the whole society was empowered, socio-economically empowered. And we all know that for a region or for a country or a society to progress, first and foremost, discipline is paramount. So he was ready to lead by example, to show that if you humble yourself, then God can raise you up. So God raised him up. He had a lot of social activities that he wanted to bring on the ground here. I remember him talking about ways of empowering the local people. He was so passionate about that. Ways of motivating even our young men and women to become better and productive citizens in the future. Those were his major concerns. He just wanted us to have a just and free society in Kenya. Yeah.
And maybe your final word, because the family is right here, they are also mourning, and the country is mourning as well, and you are a leader.
Yeah, I mourn together with the family. In fact, as I come here, I've brought not only my condolences, but the condolences from my entire family, or my entire Migori, and even those who have not found the opportunity to come here. I know that spiritually they are with us. So, my prayer, which I believe is the prayer of each and every one of us who have found time to come here, is that God gives this family the comfort, the solace, and the fortitude to bear this great load. It is only God that can console them and really become their comforter. So that is the prayer, and my final word is that may the Almighty Lord, may our kind and loving God rest General's soul in eternal peace.
Thank you very much, Governor, Your Excellency. Thank you. Well, as you have heard, is that the governor, actually, the former governor of Migori, Ogolla, had an opportunity to share something with the late general during this Easter in 2024, and he said the guy was a reformer, a true Kenyan patriot. Well, back to you in studio as we wait for His Excellency President William Ruto, who we are expecting any moment from now.
Generally Francis Omondi Ogolla.
Thank you, Ben Troy, from Senator Obama Primary School in Siaya. As he says, the expectation now is for the arrival of the head of state and the commander-in-chief in this context to arrive. And once he's there, the procession of the body for the mass will begin. Ben Troy was engaging the immediate former governor for Migori County, Ogolla, regarding the life and times of General Francis Omondi Ogolla. And clearly, as you can tell, he meant a lot of things to a lot of people in terms of how he helped people, how he came through for people, and his leadership skills. Remember, all this time, being able to maintain a humble mien, despite being a senior government official, and particularly in the military, the Kenya Defense Forces. We are bidding goodbye to a gentleman who has had an impeccable career as a military man. And I think you saw a video that popped up just the other day of him while in training in the US. A young General Ogolla, full of life and really keen on his job. And I understand from that training he came out as among the best in the training. The love pictures you have there are from Siaya. That is the Roots Party leader, George Luchiri Wajakoya, who joins fellow Azimio leaders in the burial event. I've seen Martha Karua, the NAK Kenya party leader, was the Azimio running mate in the last elections. The host governor is James Boborengo, who I believe also is in the vicinity, or probably at the waiting area to receive the president. We saw a motorcade there for a moment, yeah? And this could be it, yeah. The plates tell it all. The president has arrived. And in time, for that matter. I think it just goes towards what above retired colonels were telling us about the timeliness of this event. and the commander-in-chief has arrived in time, and that means then what we are waiting for now is the arrival of the body so that the mass begins. That's President William Ruto. The person who received the body at the Kisumu International Airport was actually the deputy president. He's the one who received the body at the Kisumu International Airport, so you would also believe that he's also in the vicinity. But yeah, the president, accompanied by the First Lady, Mama Rachel Ruto, have arrived and they have gone straight to the tent. Probably there will be a bit of debriefing before he can join in the mass. But generally, we'll take you a bit through the profile of General Ogolla, even as we continue to see those live images from Senator Obama Primary School. Those are live images from Senator Obama Primary School. President William Ruto has already arrived, which means then we are not too far away from the commencement of the burial or funeral ceremony. And there you go. James Orengo, the governor for Siaya County, is also there. And the opposition chief, Raila Odinga, obviously must be there. But I want to take you a bit through the profile of General Francis Ogolla, who by the time of death was just 6 days short of marking 40 years of service in the Kenya Defence Forces. And of course, his death presented a new territory to the military, as of course he became the first chief of defense forces to pass on while he's still in office. We were asking about the celebrants. Now you can confirm that the Right Reverend Jackson Ole Sapit, the primate of the Anglican Church, and I also think that's the Bishop of ACK Bondo Diocese. It looks like they will be the main celebrants of the funeral service or the mass. The late Ogolla joined the military on the 24th of April 1984, and in May 1985 he was commissioned as second lieutenant and posted to the Kenya Air Force. He trained as a fighter pilot with the US Air Force and also as an instructor pilot at the Kenya Air Force. The late Chief of Defense Forces has also trained in other fields, including imagery, intelligence, counter-terrorism, and accident investigation. Ogolla was a graduate of École Militaire de Paris and National Defense College of Kenya. To point towards his education acumen, he holds a diploma both in international studies and military science, acquired from the Egerton University. He has a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, Armed Conflict and Peace Studies, and he got a first-class honors, by the way, from the University of Nairobi. And you would say this is a degree that is related to the kind of job that he would do, because he's a graduate, a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, Armed Conflict and Peace Studies. You would say probably that's guided him in his leadership. Okay.
I think he fathered, after the National Defense College, then he fathered that same field into his master's.
In fact, in the same university, he gets a Master's of Arts in International Studies. And that is as far as the diplomas and the trainings, and of course, being a master's degree holder from the University of Nairobi. Additionally, he has also served as Deputy Commander, Kenya Air Force. Base Commander, Laikipia Air Base. I think, Kana Orioba, you are making reference to that when he served at the Laikipia Air Base?
Yes, he worked as a Laikipia Air Base as a commander, where the jet fighters, the home of the jet fighters. And he progressively made that camp very nice. It was a very beautiful and likable place. He did a lot of projects like schools in that area. He did a lot of service and families, especially families, houses, very nice in Laikipia. And you talk about Ogolla in Laikipia, it's like Ogolla in Laikipia, Laikipia in Ogolla.
Laikipia in Ogolla. Quite interesting. Commander, Laikipia Air Base that time, that's what Colonel Rioba is making reference to. He was also commanding officer of the Tactical Fighter Wing, the chief flying instructor at the Kenya Air Force Flying Training School, and operations desk officer at Kenya Air Force headquarters. Of course, that is the early stages of when he begins his career at the military. He has also served in the former Yugoslavia as an observer and military information officer, and that was the period between 1992 to 1993. And as pointed to his religious beliefs, like Colonel Shava was talking about, between 1994 to 2004, for a period of 10 years, General Ogolla served as the chairman of Military Christian Fellowship. That is from 1994 to 2004. For a whole 10 years, he was the chairman of Military Christian Fellowship and also a co-chair of the Association of African Air Chiefs. That is the period between 2018 to 2019. And that is a period of 1 year. Ogolla has risen through the ranks to become a major general. And that is the point. He was appointed the commander at Kenya Air Force on the 15th of July, 2018. Under retired President Uhuru Kenyatta, a post he served for 3 years before his promotion to the position of Vice Chief of the Defense Forces, and the rank was also promoted to the position of Lieutenant General, and that is also under retired President Uhuru Kenyatta. And the Chief of Defense Forces then was retired General Dr. Robert Kibochi. The highlight of his career, of course, comes on the 28th of April last year when President William Ruto promoted him to the rank of a 4-star general and effectively the Chief of Defense Forces of the Republic of Kenya. And one would say that General Ogolla, Colonel Rioba, was a general of many firsts. Politics aside, is that he was the first general from the western part of Kenya, considering those that have headed the military before. So he was a general who was actually also breaking the glass ceiling while at it.
Yeah, it's true. To say so, because he is the first one to come from the Nyanja region. It's like it's a record because since independence, nobody has come from the other side. But he was capable officer. He was a capable officer, down-to-heart officer, and a commander. You know, a commander, when you see how he grew up as a base commander like Laikipia, coming to be debut Air Force commander, then commanding the Air Force, then coming to the office of the PCGS, then eventually up to the highest level. He was a commander who was respected. He is respected, and he commanded a lot of respect from both officers and men.
Both officers.
That is what propelled him and his lifestyle. You can see he was a Christian,
the chair of Christian military fellowship,
fellowship which is not in the military, but it is the other side, like the other side. And he was there for about 10 years as the chairman. We have lost a great man. A great man. And,
I'm still picturing that story, Colonel Shava, you were telling us about the man who comes for interviews in Santos. And throughout, characteristically, even to ascending to the position of CDF, characteristically, it appears like General Ogolla is a man focused on shattering the glass ceiling every single time.
Yeah. You know, there's a lot of questions like why was he using that aeroplane? At his level, he could have had an aeroplane. But Ogolla did not care. He would come to the Air Force and say, "Degani iko," and he jumps onto it. And those fanciful things didn't bother him in life.
It explains why he was in that job.
No, it is first of all, it is one of his airplanes. How can he refuse it? If he cannot use it, how does he expect somebody else to use it? Yeah. And that equipment is part of his equipment. Those are his, that's what he has. So if he cannot use it, why would you expect others to use it?
That's an eye-opener. If he can't use it, why would he expect others to use it? And because anyway, principally, the equipment is his.
It is his.
Absolutely. We continue to watch the events from Siaya, Senator Obama Primary School. The religious leaders are already seated. The president is in the vicinity, but I think at the briefing tent. Then he will later join the mourners. But I think the most important thing at this point is the arrival of the body of General Francis Omondi Ogolla. And as we say this, it is not lost on us that we lost another 9 men of the Kenya Defence Forces. I think already the brigadier from Kilifi has already been buried. Today we inter the remains of General Ogolla. That means then we have probably another 7 men from the Defence Forces. Yeah? What? Yeah, there was a lady, Sergeant Nyawera from Kirinyaga. And I think was the official photographer of the CDF. So she was in the plane with her. The body of the general on its way to Senator Obama. But look at that. The honors, the convoy. Being a general, but we say generals don't die. Generals rest. Yeah? They just fade away. And that is the honor granted to the general. Look at that convoy. Outriders at the front, the hearse follows, and then there's a convoy, a big convoy behind him. And probably this is where the deputy president is. Since he's the one who received the body at the Kisumu International Airport, probably this is where the deputy president is.
He's following the hearse with the body.
Yeah, he's following the hearse as a mark of honor to the general. I was listening to the deputy president and the president yesterday, and you get this feeling that they had quite a personal contact and friendship with General Ogolla, because the deputy president kept remarking how he used to command them when they are seeing off the head of state when he's leaving the country, and the jokes that he would make. There are several videos that are out of him and the deputy president engaging in a very heavy laughter, probably emanating from the jokes that General Ogolla would make. But out here, we didn't think General Ogolla was funny. We just saw the serious military man.
No, he was very humorous. He cracked jokes all the time.
He did?
Yeah, he was a humorous man.
Very humorous, and you could see he was being liked by everybody because of his contact and humorous talk. So he could, what His Excellency the Deputy President was saying is that they liked coming to him for something. He jokes something, he says something, and he gives people hope.
Yeah.
That is the best. That's the best part of his life.
Yeah, that is who the general was. A funny man. The deputy president was saying yesterday at some point it was his birthday, and then he's alerted, the general is out here, he wants to see you. And the deputy president wonders, such meetings don't happen without appointment. What does the general want? And when he allows the general in, the general comes bearing a happy birthday gift. Just like that. And that's quite interesting, and that's who General Ogolla generally was. I had the privilege to sit down with him last year in the month of August. Just before the recruitment of officers into KDF, and you could tell the man was passionate about his job, but equally laser focused on the welfare of his men, and that is who General Ogolla was. That's Siaya. Na Kenya Party Leader Martha Karua has also... I was actually hoping probably that to see retired President Uhuru Kenyatta. I don't know whether he will be there or he won't. But again, General Ogolla served under him for quite some time as the Commander, Air Force, and as the Vice Chief of the Defense Forces. But you remember that the former president sent tribute when the news was broken that the general had died. He sent in his tribute and, you know, describing General Ogolla as an illustrious man, the man he worked with when he was head of state. And the pinnacle of the career of General Ogolla really has been him ascending to the position of Chief of Defense Forces in the Republic of Kenya, having risen through all those ranks to become the CDF, one of the biggest honors for any military man. And today the country unites as it sends him home. That lap you saw on the screen is the last lap for the general, who also loved to exercise with his soldiers twice a week. Kind of real, but that's commitment. You know, like you want to be close to your men, so much so that you in the morning when they're doing their morning grants, you also want to do it with them.
He liked physical. You can see his body, his body, how he maintained his posture. And you see, when you interact with your soldiers, they feel part of you. They feel that you are one of them. This is one of us. You see, as a person, maybe they can see in the office or giving orders in the office, but here is a general who is with them. Very big confidence to the soldiers. Very big confidence to the officers who serves under him. With problems, now they can go. You see, if you have even your children, if you are far off, they cannot come. They have problems that they cannot come to you. But when you are together with them, they fit you with their problems and you solve their problems. That is what could come out to morning run with the soldiers, to morning run with his family, interact with the families. That is what his actually his lifestyle. If we can get a few who can emulate his lifestyle and continue with the lifestyle he was doing, how he was living, it's a very nice. It's friendly, healthy, and for everybody. That is why you could see everybody crying. Even you could see even the soldier crying. Why are they crying? They have lost somebody, a friend who is closer to them. Yeah.
I would assume it's the norm of every commander. If you lose your men, that it affects you. But for General Ogolla, it is said that it went beyond being sad. Whenever he lost men, or he was told that he had lost men, of course revealing a picture of a person who was really in touch and in contact with his men.
Yeah, and that trait is exactly what he was doing.
Yeah.
Some are asking why was he inspecting schools? That is his job, to go and interact with the people on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk to them and find out, not only, assess the progress of the project, but also get the feel of the people down there. You can't do that by sitting in your office. That's why he's personally going to inspect those projects. Because those people, first of all, are in a hardship area. Yeah. When they see a general, not the topmost general coming to see them in the field, you can imagine the effect that has on their morale. And they know that he's thinking about them personally. He was always physically fit. And he did most of his fitness either going to the gym or playing golf, mostly golf. And Ogolla would be on the golf course at 6 in the morning at Muthaiga. Play 9 holes so that he can be in the office at 7:45.
What?
Because he did not want to take his office time to the golf course. So he'll create time for his golf, which is away from his office time. When he was promoted to CDF, and he said that in his statement, he says he's sorry that he has to give up his
golf.
That's the one thing he's going to miss. And that's when he took up that running thing to keep fit. Yeah, and how best to do it, but do it with your soldiers.
Wow, clearly the country has lost a dedicated man, and a man really who was keen on ensuring that the military is respected. I think that those are his words. I want to leave a military that is respected worldwide and ready for the mission wherever, whenever. And those were his final words during that interview that we did with him last year. Little did we know that a few months down the line, the general would be no more. This is Siaya, Senator Obama Primary School, live images from the primary school as we continue to await now the arrival of the body of the late General Ogolla. And I think once he's in, the military procession to the tent where the mass is being held, and the mass will officially kick off. The event brings together Kenyans from all walks of life, the men in uniform, civilians, politicians, the who is who in society, and all of them gathering to honor a man who lived a simple life, yet so impactful, the General CDF of the Republic of Kenya. So on one split of a screen, you have the procession to Senator Obama Primary School. I actually didn't imagine that the distance from Kisumu International Airport to Alego Usonga would be this long, but clearly it's long.
It's about 45 minutes.
It's about 45 minutes. Yes. Considering that the body arrived at around 9:20, now we are at 10:17. But I also think the speed is not maximum.
Low speed, so they're probably going to take an hour. Or so.
Okay. Wow. Interesting. So we continue to give you a wall-to-wall coverage of the event and the burial ceremony of the late General Francis Omondi Ogolla, the fourth CDF under the 2010 Constitution. You will remember before then, the title used to be the Chief of General Staff, but after the adoption of the 2010 Constitution, the title changed to the Chief of Defense Forces, the first being retired General Julius Waweru Karangi, then later retired General Mwathethe. From the Navy, we had retired General Kibochi from the Army, and this time it was the turn of the Air Force. We had General Ogolla. I don't know whether this is a bit intricate, but in the order of succession, Colonel Orioba, this was the turn of the Air Force.
Yes.
And I think the next obviously should be from the Navy. Yes. But I'm just assuming, are these things so clearly written that there's no argument about it?
When General Daudi Donje came in, we had in the army 3 tribes. The 3 tribes are the Army, the Air Force, and the Kenya Navy.
Yes.
He wanted to have equality in those. He didn't want to have others left behind, others going forward. It is so clearly given to the Defense Council that this is what is suiting the military. And what is suited in the military is written, given, and there is no dispute about it. Nobody is asking why Ogolla and why not this one or maybe this one. It is written, as you have clearly said, from Navy, Air Force, Army, then Navy, Air Force, Army, and that is how it is. And there's no quarrel. I have never had any quarrel saying you have put my man or you have put to my man. It is clearly spelled that there's no dispute in this. it follows like what we have saying, the timings, that if it is the time to deliver the bombs, it is the time to deliver the bombs. There is no other time. Otherwise, you will be taken to court martial. If you deliver the bombs 1 minute earlier than they expected, or 1 minute later than they expected. So if things are spelled like that, there is no dispute at all. Because when Ogolla now passes on, there is no dispute who is supposed to be in that land. It is clearly, you can, from the Air Force cannot say, no, it is ours, we cannot have some. No,
because I would assume in a normal society, one would argue Air Force has only served 1 year, so why would you want to go to Air Force?
No.
And I think, Shava, there's a lot the society can ape from the military. I mean, looking at the order of things, it is in plain black and white.
Yeah, and it does not have to be written. A lot of things in the military are what we call tradition. Yeah, doesn't have to be in black and white.
Yes.
We have a tradition of doing certain things, and we follow those traditions, very strictly. So it does not have to be written in law. And before Tonje,
yes,
we had this thing about the senior service. Of course, the Kenya Army is the senior service.
Yes.
Followed by Kenya Air Force. The seniority starts from the date they were formed. And then the Navy was the youngest. Yeah? So up to that time, up to Tonje's time, the tradition was that the senior service will provide the CDF. So that's why up to that time, all the CDFs were from the army. But Tonje sought to change that, yeah, and then people would be in the office for long, for 10 years, 20 years. And you cannot be in office for 10 years; you become redundant. So he brought then the 4-year rule. It was not only, people think it's only for the CDF. No, the 4-year rule is for any senior command position. You cannot be in a command position for more than 4 years. Yeah. After 4 years, you must move, and the movement is either out, parallel or up or out. Yeah.
And that is how it is.
Yeah.
All right. I think we are well in the course of beginning the mass at the Senator Obama Primary School. Wajakoya keeps popping up on the screen.
He's colorful.
Yeah, he's colorful. And of course, seated with the former governor for Muranga, Mwangi area. In that same line is the NAK Kenya party leader, Martha Karua. I believe the front seats will be occupied by the senior officers from the military, as well as the commander-in-chief, the deputy president, the prime cabinet secretary, the former prime minister, and probably the governor for Siaya, and any other government, senior government officials, including the speakers of both houses. Most likely will feature in the... Who is this speaking? This looks like... Okay, we'll check who this is. But to me, it looks like the Gatanga MP. I don't know why. But we'll see.
Maybe it's no. The new...
Okay. And here we have officers drawn from the 3 services. Is a match, I think, awaiting of the reception of the body. The NIS Director General Haji has arrived. I've also seen the minority leader, Opio Wandai. Let's just listen in a bit to what is happening there.
That is the guard, quarter guard. This is the quarter guard. The quarter guard.
Ningependa ongeza sauti kidogo studio. Kisha uongeze kwa hii mic pia sauti. Ningependa kutambua kuwasili kwake mkurugenzi wa masuala ya ujasusi nchini, Bwana Nurdin Haji, ambaye ameshawasili kupata kuwa nasi. Yuko pia pamoja nasi Luteni Jenerali mstaafu Cheruiyot, ambaye aliweza kuhudumu kama kamanda wa jeshi letu la nchi kavu. Pia ningependa kuchukua fursa hii kuwatambua waheshimiwa wabunge wanaohusika na kamati ya bunge katika bunge la kitaifa, kamati ya bunge inayohusika na masuala ya ulinzi, ujasusi pamoja na masuala ya nchi za kigeni, wakiongozwa na mwenyekiti wao Mheshimiwa Nelson Koech, mbunge wa Belgut. Basi tutazidi kurudi studio upande ule wa pili, gwaride likiweza kujitayarisha kuashiria kwamba wakati wowote tokea sasa tutakuwa tunapokea mwili wa Generali Francis Omondi Ogolla, kisha baadaye misa iweze kung'oa nanga rasmi. Nakumbushwa na mwelekezi wangu kwamba tutaweza kuwa na ibada ama ukipenda service. Wakati tutaweza kuanza service yetu, tunaomba tuweze kuwa watulivu ili misa yetu iweze kuendeshwa kwa njia isiyokuwa na bugdha. Na baada ya hapo, alivyokuwa amesema mwenzangu Bwana Mike Gitonga, tafadhali kule nyumbani kwa generali nafasi ni finyu, na iwapo haujapewa itifaki ya kuelekea mahali pale, tafadhali tutakuwa mbashara uweze kufuatilia matukio yote mahali hapa. Thank you. Turudi studio tafadhali.
Yeah, we are back in studio. But just to be clear, the man on the mic from the military, when he says back to studio, he didn't mean here. But either way, we are back and we continue with the live commentary of the events since the general died, and of course his life and times, and today being the last journey as the general exits. I've seen the arrival of, I think, the governor for Busia, Paulo Tuoma, and that's him shaking hands with Professor Wajakoya. And there are several other leaders that I've seen, including the NIS Director General, Nuruddin Haji, who obviously being in the intelligence wing worked very closely also with the Chief of Defense Forces. Colonel Shaba, you were telling us that is a quarter guard, what we are seeing on the screen?
I think so.
Okay. What is it supposed to do?
It's a quarter guard. It's a guard for the generals.
Okay.
There's a guard for the president, and there's a guard for the generals. It's just a quarter guard for the generals. That is the one which is going to do the post, which you asked earlier. The last post. The last post. That is actually the one who are going to do it. That is this guard which is going to say bye to the general. That is why they are here. They are services you can see from the Air Force, from the Army, and from the Navy, doing the quarter guard for the general. Actually, it's almost. I think it's almost arriving to receive the body.
So they're standing here strategic. It is because the body is almost arrived.
Yes, almost alive. That's all. The timings. That is what is it? The timings of the arrival and the timings of standing and the timings that they are. Everything is.
They can't stand there. You can't put them for too long.
Yeah.
They will start falling. So you have to coordinate all these things.
Yeah. It must be coordinated.
It must be coordinated.
Yeah,
you don't want them standing there for hours and then it becomes flop. And a quarter guard is just at the size. I think a full guard is 30.
Yes.
30.
Full guard is the president.
Is the president. What number is it?
Usually
99927.
Yes.
27 people?
Yes.
Okay.
The quarter guard is 21.
21.
Yeah.
So however quarter guard is, yes, it's the number.
Okay.
It's the number.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Having been a pilot, Kana Oshava, tell us about this missing man formation that we saw yesterday.
The one you saw yesterday?
Yes.
The missing man formation comes from, started actually from Vietnam War. It was to honor pilots who didn't come home, like I said. Yeah. So you have a standard formation, you have 4 aeroplanes.
Yeah.
Then you remove the one in the middle. You know, you have 4 aeroplanes, they go like this, like the finger here.
Yeah.
Number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. Yeah? So you remove this person, but you don't fill that space, so that it comes now like this. Yeah, instead of being like that. So that's the missing man formation. It denotes that one of us is missing. We have lost one of us. Yeah. That's all it is.
Okay. Quite an interesting one. That is what we saw yesterday, because one would have actually thought probably is the mistake.
No. That is designed like that.
But it was significant in itself.
Yes.
The missing man formation that we saw yesterday. Yes. But it is not likely to be shown here because the military, those traditions were observed yesterday. Is it likely to be repeated?
I doubt it will be. No.
Okay.
No, it will not be there.
All right. So it won't be repeated on this side. But you know, the cracks of a military honor is supposed to be given to a general, really, were given yesterday. So today much of it is interment. But even though it is interment, nothing departs from the discipline. It is going to be a military event all the way until the general is buried. And so mourners continue to flock, and I think a lot of members of the public have already made their way here. I think the seats that are unoccupied are actually VIP seats. Members of the public sat down a long time ago. And look at that.
Yeah.
Even laying a carpet needs matching. Yeah.
Well,
that's the military for you. And as I was remarking, probably there's a lot of discipline the society can borrow or ape from the military as a means of living and probably to avoid conflict at the end of the day. So once the body has arrived and you've seen the formation of our quarter guard, here we go. It's not easy to tell where we are at this point or where the body has reached, but that procession
it cannot be very far.
It can be very far from Senator Obama Primary School where the event will be. And this is the last lap for the general as he comes back home for the last time. General Francis Omondi Ogolla, who died on Thursday in a helicopter crash in West Pokot. He was there on a tour of duty to see his men and of course inspect works being done by his men. By the way, the military is engaged in the reconstruction of schools that were destroyed by banditry. And the president revealed it's a conversation they had had about the reconstruction of those schools. And therefore, the general was, going there to inspect how the works are going. And as you heard from the president, he did not ask for money for the reconstruction of the schools. He went to his budget and found money that would reconstruct the schools. That's not a typical public servant. You know what typical public servants do?
Well, that's what makes the difference between. Yeah. What the military is doing in those bandit-prone areas is not purely for security. They're also looking at community services. Yeah. We need to settle those people, so that they stop wandering around all over the place. And we need to give them facilities that will help them settle. Schools, hospitals, water, those kind of things, so that they become settler communities, which will then be easy to provide security once they have settled, instead of this roaming around. So the military is heavily engaged in that part of the program.
A typical public servant, Kano Rioba, would tell the president probably needs 700 million to reconstruct these classes. But General sees the urgency, doesn't ask for money, goes to his budget that is allocated to the Kenya Defence Forces and gets money to reconstruct classes. It speaks of high discipline and integrity in leadership.
Yeah, it's true. It's, what Asava said is that when you get out there are things that you see because you are on the ground. And General Ogolla was literally on the ground, seeing what is happening in the areas. He knows that what he's saying is that if you settle these people down, you give them a school, give them water, you give them health facilities, they will settle down. If they settle down, it's easier.
You know, like you were telling us, John, this is still a full military affair, right?
It is.
So we will see the full military honors, the 19-gun salute. Take us a little bit through what we will see after this process is finished. The reveal, which is the wake-up call, you know, the last minute, the minute of silence and the last post. Just remind us of all of this once again as to why this is important.
Just to preamble what you initially
said. To do their work.
The Deputy President and the Honorable Duale, as you would imagine, are the ones who are at the Kisumu International Airport to receive the body of the late General, and they have arrived. That means that the body is not really far off from the area. Probably in the next 5 minutes we'll have the body at Senator Obama Primary School. That's the State House MC. Let's listen to what he has to say.
Someone wind up with a vote of thanks after a prayer for the family before we exit. A quick reminder, only those who have been briefed to go to the graveside will proceed to the graveside. There is very, very restricted space. It's also the wish of the family and would like to honor and respect that wish. So if you have not received a brief to go to the graveside, we kindly request as we exit, you remain in the tent where you will watch the proceedings from the screens provided. So please, let's honor the family's request that only those briefed will proceed to the graveside. If you have not received a brief, kindly, we request that you remain here in the tent so that you'll watch the proceedings. We're about to begin, so we'll be starting shortly. Studio.
Probably this time studio means myself. And we continue with the live coverage of the event. As you've heard from Gitonga, those who will be at the gravesite are the only ones who have received a brief from the family and the Kenya Defence Forces, because not everybody will make it to the gravesite. But not to worry. KBC has exclusive coverage at the gravesite also, so you will get an opportunity to also see the interment of the late General Francis Omondi Ogolla. And that's the quarter guard still waiting, but the arrival of the Deputy President and the Minister for Defence, Honorable Aden Duale, means then that we are not too far from the arrival of the body of the late General. Somehow, Colonel Shava, the death of General Ogolla, should it strengthen the resolve of government to deal with banditry? Because either way, why he was in that area is because of the vagaries of banditry.
Yeah, it should. It should. And we've had this issue for a long time. It's about time we did something to end this senseless banditry. In my opinion, is no longer the traditional cattle rustling. It has morphed into something else. And we need to find out what exactly is happening there. It is not the tradition where you went and because I'm getting married, me and my boys will go and take cattle from his boma. And then when his son is getting married, they come and take cattle from my boma. You know, it was a barter system. But I think now there's a new aspect of this banditry, which I think is economic.
It looks like an enterprise.
It's an enterprise, yeah. So it's not longer just... Of course, it's become more violent because of the weapons now available.
Yeah.
Machine guns and all that. But there's an issue of money. It's become commercial. So we need to have a bigger picture of what's going on. There are bigger players other than just the foot soldiers who are actually doing the...
Karen Rioba, your thoughts on this one?
I think those areas, what he has said is that it has changed over time. It has changed from the traditional marriage, stealing for marriage, isn't it?
Yes.
Now it has changed to commercial. But I suppose that there must be a solution for that, because we have now expanded information.
Yes.
And why is this information being used to curb those things?
Yes.
A study must be done to curb those things, and it is possible now because the technology, information technology, and communication, it has changed. Of course, the people who changed are also the people who might change it to another level. But at time like this one now should be completely to be maybe like banditry in Nairobi and stealing and what, but not having mass weapons like that. The place there now is that it must be a study and do something about it, and it must come from all walks of life, from the security forces to everybody, so that we know what is this, why is this so Lambert, and why is it happening areas like this ones. It must, people have knowledge, maybe the locals have information, and it must be given so that these things can be, these manners can be done away with. We need now development. We don't need to buy weapons to go and fight human beings. We need money for buying these armored cars for the...
it's important to note that
this time.
Live images from Siaya. We continue to await the arrival of the body of General Ogolla. But so far, we can report that the top hierarchy of the country is in Senator Obama Primary School, because, and I think the body is arriving now. It is just around the area, but we can report that President William Ruto is in at Senator Obama Primary School. The Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is also there. The Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, we've seen Defense Minister Honorable Aden Duale, Moses Kuria, the Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, Florence Bore for Labour and Social Protection. We also have Zachary Njeru, the Minister for Water and Irrigation, and other government officials really who are also here. Remember, being a ranking government official, almost nearly the entire of government is in Siaya to bid goodbye to the general. So what is happening there? A little bit of consultations on the program. But like the canals in studio have already told us, it's a meticulous and well-planned event. There's no room for mistakes. There's no room for chance. This is how it must be. And as you noticed from yesterday, even the speeches were very limited and very orderly. And I think it is only the intervention of the president again that even the former opposition leader, Raila Odinga, was allowed to speak, of course, too, as a ranking official. The mass, based on what I see from behind the speaker, those are clergy from the Anglican Church, and particularly the Bondo Diocese. General Ogolla, as we were told earlier, is involved or was involved in the construction of a church in his village, that is Nduru village, the Nduru ACK. It has been consecrated today by the primate of the Anglican Church in Kenya, or the province of Kenya, the Right Reverend Jackson Ole Sapit. Once the body has arrived, we shall see that procession. Yeah, it's very close to being at the Senator Obama Primary School. It is 10:47. That means that they're still in time. And being a military event, it will be conducted in accordance with, or rather in strict adherence to time. And that's when the body arrives, is when we'll see the exit of the president from the briefing tent, where he is together with the deputy president and other senior officials. Actually, the speakers has lined up in the program. After the eulogy, the tributes will only come from the family, friends representative, the church representative, a military representative, and then government. All of them led by the chaplaincy. Oh, and the sermon comes after the tributes. At exactly 2 is when the program says the commander-in-chief is supposed to leave at own pleasure, and that is to leave the grave site. That is after he's laid the wreath and the national anthem.
Kofia zisizo rasmi kuweza kuzivua kwa ajili ya kipindi hiki. Shukran.
It's really a lot of resources to train one soldier or one officer, like now a pilot from cadet up to where he was. It's a lot of money. It's a
huge
lot
investment.
of resources. Yeah. Maybe
it's a huge investment. It's a huge. It's a huge investment. Pilot training alone will cost. The pilot training will cost about over 10 million shillings.
Almost 10 million shillings.
Yeah, because they count everything.
Yeah.
I attended.
You to follow that once it begins. That is happening very, very soon, very, very shortly. But, you know, this is, we've said, I think, a couple of words, unprecedented, historic, yet tragic for a day like this. You know, so what happens now? I mean, we mourn, we say goodbye. What are some of the reflections that we should be thinking about in your view?
Sure. When you, from a leadership point of view, when you're reflecting, you reflect past, present, and future. The past, we are honoring a man who throughout his career has maintained a very personable, very humble, and very
flying officers.
Flying officers.
Yes.
And it's quite sad that it had to happen. Losing General Ogolla and the other men and women. There was one lady, that is Sergeant Nyawera, who also died in the copter crash. And of course we continued.
And nobody gets to that level who has not.
At this point. And they'll be buried in diverse dates within the course of next week. And of course, as announced by the President, the government continues to assist their families in planning the burial and interment of the soldiers. But one of them, the Brigadier General from Kilifi, was buried on Friday. Yes, on Friday. And that means then, after the laying of General Ogolla, there's another 7, and the military will still be involved in the whole of the process. That's Nuruddin Haji again, making his way to the tent. I think he's coming from the briefing tent where the President is. And that's the inside of the tent where the mass will be held. And members of the public and other dignitaries are already seated. So those empty seats you see there are the VIPs who are yet to make it to the tent because they are at the briefing point. And who is that?
Maybe foreign.
Very interesting figures today. You will see a lot of people making their way to Siaya in honor. Like Colonel Shava and Colonel Rioba were telling us, there's a lot of exchanges that go in between, you know, a general probably in Kenya and a general in another country. And that means then, that is Ezekiel Mashogu, the Minister for Education, who I've seen there. And that means then there are a lot of, you know, senior military officials who will be coming from other countries to come and honor a General Ogolla. I also see the Solicitor General with accompanying Minister Mashogu. It's just like we said, nearly, probably the entirety of government is in Siaya because it is the